Hello, everybody. It is me, the Classy Fan, and today I'm going to be giving my final thoughts on the Oculus Quest 1. As for those of you who don't know, I recently got an Oculus Quest 2 and stopped using the Quest 1, and I thought this would just be a fun video to make. Before we get into my thoughts, there is some housekeeping stuff I need to get into, and the first of those things is very shortly after I got my Quest 1, I got aftermarket stuff for it. That aftermarket stuff that matters is my VR cover facial interface, which is the pleather one. And there was a wide variety throughout my time of using the Quest 1, different link cables that I used. And I used a aftermarket random Amazon generic headset head strap pad. So yeah, that's all the significant aftermarket stuff that I used with it. And the game in the background, you will most likely see iRacing, because that's just what I spent a lot of time in this headset doing, is iRacing stuff. And yeah, should mention also real quick, prior to getting my Quest 2, I used the Quest 1 for about 3 years, so I feel like I know what I'm talking about here with the issues that I had with it and the things I liked about with it. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. And we're going to start with the gun. So firstly, at the time that I got it, it was pretty darn affordable, which was great, which was awesome. It was nice to have the standalone, even though the use case of being able to take it other places and just use it without a computer, I never really used that. Honestly, in fact, to me, it was sort of pointless to have. And with the aftermarket stuff, it did become comfortable. And it's also OLED, which is another thing it has over the Quest 2. That's really everything I have on it that's positive. So with that, we're going to get into the negatives, and we're going to start right off with comfort. The only, as I said, the only reason that this thing was comfortable was because I got aftermarket stuff for it. The stock out of the box facial interface felt like I was rubbing sandpaper up against my face, and it was like rubbing my face raw, basically. And it started doing that after about half an hour of wearing the thing. So it got to the point where I just said, F it, we're buying the VR cover. Then there was the head strap pad, because the head strap tends to feel like it is trying to squish your head into a into basically flat. It's trying to it's like it's trying to squish a watermelon, and it is very uncomfortable without the head pad. Next, we're going to get into durability, and durability on this thing is a joke. I have had about 3 controllers for this thing, because I had to replace one of them because the controller was stick drifting, and getting that replaced was like pulling a needle from a haystack. All 3 of them have had cracks in them. The current ones that they're actually my Quest 1, everything is sitting up above me on a rack that I have them set up to display on. the current two ones I have, they're both taped up because the plastic that the controllers are made out of is a joke, and it is the cheapest thing and most undurable thing possible. They crack super easily, and you will quickly have to tape your rings up if you're a bit clumsy with them. The headset itself was a bit more durable, except for the part where the facial interface, the actual part where it attaches, broke and now requires, or it required all sorts of different tape and all sorts of different stuff just to get the headset to not have a part of the plastic just pushing out into your forehead. It's stupid how undurable the system for connecting the facial interface to the headset is. And also, this one's more on VR cover. The actual like Velcro part of it, that the foam, the foam thing with the pleather on it actually attaches to, into the rubber. That entire thing also was starting to fall out. The rubber was starting to fall out of the plastic, the actual plastic that connects it to the headset, and then the pleather part was starting to come loose. So that is actually what basically forced me to buy a Quest 2, is because I can't get that part anymore. And once that thing breaks, it's done, and I can't use it basically anymore. Now we're gonna get into another thing with this is more usability and convenience, but Quest software, the Oculus app likes to go boom every few months, and with the Quest 1 in particular, 90% of the time it was solved by doing a factory reset of my computer, which means every time it decided to stop working correctly and stop wanting to connect with the Oculus app, that meant basically spending several hours setting my computer back up and reinstalling games and stuff, because that's how it works with the Oculus app, apparently. For a good while, it also involved every single time reinstalling the Oculus app using a run command, which sometimes would throw a hissy fit, act like the file, like the setup stuff did not exist. And then there would be cases where it would act like only the C drive existed, and if you didn't have enough space on the C drive, it would throw a fit, and it still throws a fit, even though they've added the ability now to manually select a drive, which sucks. Although that stuff might be getting fixed soon. Despite being OLED, it anything not directly in front of you was incredibly blurry and incredibly low detail on the screen. Like, it was very hard to tell where breaking points, or some of my breaking points, were in the Quest 1 because of how low detail it is. Even dashes sometimes look like they were super duper blurry because of that. Also, another thing I'm going to mention with the controllers real quick. The battery compartment is not very good, because it does not very well take into account the fact that that the battery standard that the batteries that the controllers use, which I believe is AA's, not all AA's are created equal, like literally size wise. Some of them are slightly bigger and some of them are slightly smaller. So sometimes you'd be using the controllers, and then the battery would get knocked a little bit loose and the controller would just completely disconnect. So you'd be playing Beat Saber and then you'd fail a level because the batteries kind of just slightly flew out and then it would disconnect. So you had to do like all sorts of fun things like wrapping your batteries up with rubber bands so the battery would stay in place in the controller. Although on the Quest 2 they fixed that because now the little battery thing moves, so it adjusts for the fact that not all AA's are created truly equal. Finally, yeah, there's not really much to talk else about. So I'm gonna move on to my conclusion. So, do I think the Quest 1 was a great headset? No. Do I think it was a good headset? Yes. Would I rather they have just delayed the Quest 1 and made the Quest 2 that we got the Quest 1? Yes. Because the Quest 1 that we got, to me, is kind of a joke. If you're looking to be ultra budget and you want something but you don't want to pay the money to get a Quest Pro or a Quest 2, and you can find a Quest 1 in decent condition and the software is available, go ahead and get it. It is a good starting point, in my opinion, for people to get into VR. It's just good enough to get you started. If you can afford a Quest 2, I'd say get a Quest 2. The Quest 2 will just straight up be easier to find than a refurbished Quest 1 or a good condition Quest 1. And if I had to give it a rating, I'd say 8 out of 10. Aside from the durability and some of the other issues, it's not bad. So yeah. Well, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and bye for now. Peace.